everyone, Diana here with your psychic soul messages and a prediction or two for the week of August the 26th to September the 1st. I always have to think about those dates, the numbers. Well, what a week it was. And Daisy's right here with me, and you'll probably see her when she kind of takes off running and out in the grass in a little bit. But for right now, she's here saying, pet me, pet me. So we're going to pet her while we're talking to you. It was quite a week, wasn't it? Manafort, Cohen, even Hunter, which was, the second congressman to endorse Trump. One pleaded guilty, one found guilty, and one indicted, along with his wife. So quite a week. It had all of us, wow! Expected and totally unexpected. And these are the shocks we're getting these days. And expect more this week. This month, into September, and I've been saying that for a long time, that August was going to be an explosive month, and I would call the week that just passed pretty explosive. Well, I want to talk to you about what's happening, and I do want to first of all welcome those of you who are new. Thank you so much for coming. For those of you who subscribe and come back week after week and support me, I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much. You make it worth it, because sometimes it's like, I don't really want to do that this week. And then I think of you, and you make it worth it. So thank you so much, because I'm doing this for all of us. We'll also get a message from Philip. Philip's my spirit guide, and we always say left page or right page because there's a wisdom on each page. And we'll get that in a minute. But first of all, I want to talk to you about cycles. Everything has a cycle. Economics, environments, the political arena, our societies, everything, countries, everything has a cycle. And these cycles are studied by economists, by politicians or political analysts. The cycles are studied by astronomers and astrologers, etc., etc. So even our own lives have a cycle. Here in the U.S., we don't always see that cycle because we think in terms of past, present, and future. So we think in a linear, but many, many other cultures think in circular. So they see the cycles in their own lives. We're always surprised when that cycle that we thought we left back there comes back on us. So we're not real familiar with cycles as much as some other cultures. But anyway, cycles run. I haven't studied cycles. I study those people who study cycles. I'm not a statistician, but the people who study cycles tell us that cycles run thousands and thousands of years, or I think one of the shortest ones is about 20 years. And we're going to kind of look at that 20 year. But I want to also say we're coming toward the end of we've come toward that end of the 26,000 year cycle. There are cycles that run longer. How do we know these cycles? Well, scientists study them. They're in the ice. They're in trees. They're in history. So the cycles are fairly accurate. What's happening in our world today is as we come to the end of this 20-year period, this is political, this is economic, this is social, this is environmental, but the environmental one is much, much longer. That's the 26,000 year cycle is partly our environmental, but it's also the ancient ones tell us that we're in that period of time where cycles converge and come together, and as they come to an end. Well, as they come to an end, guess what happens? We feel that erratic, we feel that tumultuous energy, and as we're trying to make that shift, it can be very difficult, and that's what we're feeling now. And it's, as we know in our own lives, once we make that shift, then there's a calm. But we have to first make that shift before we can get to the calm. So this particular 20-year cycle should be up around 2020. December 2020 should be the end of this tumultuous cycle, or the convergence of some of these cycles coming together. And so after 2020, toward closer to the middle to the end of the year, things will settle down. It won't settle down immediately. So what does that mean for us? Well, my friends, it means we have a responsibility to stay calm in the storm. We asked to come in. Our souls said, hey, I want to go into life at that period of time. I want to help the world at that period of time, because it's going to be a really tough time. It's going to get rougher, I'm sorry to say. And laughter is a good antidote to all the stress that is caused by the turmoil in this country and in the world. One of the things we all promised in soul when we were in spirit world, our souls, is that we would come into this world and we would use our gifts to help calm the world, to help the world stay in truth and sanity. How do we do that when the world seems so difficult? How do we do that and maintain our sanity and our calm, or how do we maintain our calm and peace while also staying informed? First of all, we have to stay in balance. If we're so immersed in the turmoil, we're not going to be able to stay calm. If we're so far out of what's happening in the world and in our countries, we're not going to be able to work for change. Now, there are those who have devoted their lives, and you've just seen one of our little wild kitties. We named her Joey. I'm diverting here. She just walked past me, a little black kitty. And she did have kittens, by the way. She had 3. They have a front porch house, which is on the other side. We're in the backyard now. And the kitties are living, it's set up with blankets and a crate and the whole bit. Or a crate, not a cage, but and a dog house and food and water and toys, the whole bit. But she eventually brought her kittens to the front porch, and as soon as they stop nursing, we are all going to go get our surgery. So we're not going to have a whole lot of kittens, but in the meantime, Daisy just came back. You might hear her paw nails on the deck. In the meantime, we have 3 new kittens here, and they're just adorable. I'll have to take some pictures and send them out. Anyway, I want to also tell you before I forget, because I've been so requested to do it, I am doing my workshop, Awakening to Deeper Intuition, again. I haven't done it for 2 years, but I am going to do it the first week of November, the first weekend. I think that's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I keep it at as reasonable a price as I possibly can. We will be holding it in a hotel in Springfield, Ohio, and they are giving us a special rate on overnight guest as well. There is the room that we're holding it in will only hold, I'm keeping this to 12 to absolute maximum 18. That's a little bit smaller than I usually allow in this group, but I've allowed up to 30, like 32. But this one, the room just won't hold that. So we're going to meet in one of the meeting rooms in the hotel. So it is a small group, and it is a very intense weekend. So if you'd like to know more, it's called Awakening to Deeper Intuition. My website is right below. Please do go read about it. Call me if you have any questions, and please get signed up. There is a price discount for early registration. So I hope to see many of you at the Awakening to Deeper Intuition workshop. Now, back to what can we do? How can we stay in our peace when the world is in such turmoil? You know, this morning, before daylight, the birds start singing. Not just this morning, but this morning I was just so peaceful listening to the birds singing me awake. The bird's song is so peaceful, and if we just stop and listen to the birds singing, we'll feel peace. In the evening, they seem to sing, and in the morning, they sing. They sing all day, but that's when they seem to be the loudest. So just let the birds sing to you, and be in the mindfulness and the awareness of the peace of that song. Let the sun, when you're chilly, let the sun just rest on your back, and let that warm us and release our tension, that warmth of the sun rays on our back. Let the dew on the grass cool our feet as we walk through it barefooted. Take our shoes off and actually step on Mother Earth and just feel the coolness of that dew on our feet. It feels wonderful. Look at the tall trees. You know, I live among tall trees, so I'm very blessed in that way. But I look at these trees and I look up, and they're as tall as the sky, it seems, and I look up and I see how they're soaring, and I feel like I can soar to the tops of those trees and sway in the breeze with the branches, and at the same time look at the deep roots and feel I'm rooted in truth. I'm grounded. I'm not off hiding from life. I'm grounded in the truth of life, while I'm also soaring among these tall trees that have been here for hundreds of years. I have to stop looking at them for a moment here. But let us have the courage to stay informed, to question, and to hold accountable those who need to be held accountable. Let us have strong boundaries. That's love for ourselves. And do that speaking out, that holding of those boundaries out of love, not out of anger. Let us not give in to fear, but instead let us live in that place of love, because that's where the peace is, that's where the calm is, that's where the lack of stress is. And we can all do that. That's what's being asked of us. And as we move in to the next few weeks and the next few months, it's going to be very stressful. Stay calm, stay in peace, stay in love. Let's see what Philip has for us, shall we? You're thinking left or right? I always read both pages, but whatever the left or the right, that's our message. So let's see what we have here. You ready? We just kind of flip through. You know, a lot of people tell me they use this before they go to sleep at night. I tend to use it in the morning when I'm journaling. There we go. So I'm hearing right, but I'm also going to read left. The right says, you are the window through which you view the world. You are the window through which you view the world. And of course, this is what we've been talking about. If your view of the world is fear and anger, if that's your view of the world, that's what you're going to see. If your view of the world is love for all beings, for all of nature, for all of life, if that is your view of the world, then you're going to experience love from others. Think about it. Hello, Daisy. Think about it. I find if I'm feeling a little cranky and I go into the grocery store or whatever, the cashiers are also a little cranky, or people in the parking lot seem a little cranky, or drivers seem a little cranky. So if I notice somebody else is acting a little cranky, I pull myself back and I say, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I realize I may not be coming from a deep place of love. Let's change the attitude. So remember, you are the window through which you view the world. And I want to say, for all of us, we forget that ego, we think of ego as being telling the world how great we are, falsely. Ego also tells us that we're not great. So you just tell that ego that's saying, you're not enough, yes, I am. I am enough. because believe me, every one of you, you are enough. You're beautiful. You have a beautiful heart. You have a beautiful spirit. Let it shine. You are the window through which you view the world. View it through a place of love. The other side, the left side, says, if everyone thought alike, who would be the genius? If everyone thought alike, who would be the genius? Well, my friends, you're all geniuses, just in different ways. Daisy and I and the kitties, the new ones, the outdoor ones, the inside ones, we all wish you a place of love, a week filled with joy and happiness, a week where the tumultuous, erratic energies of the world do not get you down, but you're able to stay calm in the midst of a storm. Thank you for being with us today. We love you. Thank you for accepting that love, and thank you for loving us. And by the way, someone did ask me, I think you can see a doghouse in the back or two. I put out old dog houses on the land and then put food in them for the wildcats. Joey, the black one you saw earlier, just happened to stay around. Usually they don't stay. They come and eat the food and disappear. She just happened to choose one of the dog houses as her own, and now we call her the front porch kitty because that's where she spends most of her time, along with 3 new ones. So we are certainly blessed. So thank you, my friends. We love you. We'll see you next week.